So while people are logging on, today we're going to do a bit of baking. We thought we'd mix it up a bit. So we'll do a bit of baking and a bit of tips on how I bake. Now, I'm definitely not a professional, but I think that's the whole point really, is that we can get some good old home baking in. And really, I'm trying to think now. Oh yes, because obviously we don't have egg and things like that. When I was younger, like just now, he was lactose intolerant. So I really got into vegan baking because so he could have it as well. So some of my recipes are, but sometimes I do mix it up with, you know, like butter, for example, for the icing sugar and things like that. So some are not always fully vegan, but the sponge recipe itself is. So yeah, so shall I crack on? Let's do this. So tips isn't going on, so I'm just going to mix up some mixture here, and because they are American recipes, we do cook with, I always use cups because it's really easier, and with the cups you're not measuring and, you know, trying to figure it out, taking a bit out, you know exactly how much is in there. So that's why I prefer it as well. So I'll just get these, you can get them from any shop, you can get metal ones or plastic ones like these here. So so I'm going to start. So I'm using some soya milk to start off with. So it's a cup of that. So you literally, this is how simple it is. You literally, you know, pour it in, and that's it, it's done. And for what I always use as well, because what you find with vegan recipes is that they're quite runny, but the sponge itself does turn out really good. So I always use a whisk because it's just quick and easy. And then some rapeseed oil. Is it over there? No. Yeah. There's some. Sorry, I thought I was organised. Apple cider vinegar. Oh. If I put it in the fridge by mistake. Sorry. Normally in here. Here it is, it's hiding behind, sorry about that. So yes, and then you put some apple cider vinegar in, and I can give the exact measurements, but because I've been doing this recipe so much, I kind of just know how much to put in, but we will definitely give the full details. So yeah, you whisk that up a bit, and then it does say in the recipe to leave it to kind of curdle for a bit, but I've always made it without doing it, and it's always worked, because sometimes when you've got the kids, you haven't really got time to leave it for a few minutes. So so yeah, I always just put it straight in. There's salt out there. And then another thing next is the vanilla essence. So it always says vanilla essence, but I find this vanilla paste really good. And literally just a squirt of that in, and it's just got a better flavour, and because it's alcohol free, so even if you're giving it to anyone, you don't feel like you're giving anything that they don't really have. So yeah, it's alcohol free and vegetarian, of course, and vegan as well actually. So that's why it's really easy to kind of use. Now a lot in the American recipes, they use it always says canola oil, but I did a quick Google thinking what is that, and in UK it's always called rapeseed oil, so that's what I always use. And that's what is, I think, kind of like the egg replacer really, so it kind of keeps the cake really moist. So it's 1/3 of a cup of that. Here we go, so that's 1/3 of a cup there. There you go, it's literally straight in, so it's literally as easy as that. I'm going to do a bit of mixing. And then it's always like a pinch of salt as well, just so you can it kind of like just brings out the flavour really and helps that all rise. And next I always we'll put the sugar in, and it's 3/4 cups of sugar. So yeah, it's just mix that in. And I always do the wet ingredients first, and when the sugar dissolves it kind of gives a good consistency, so it's good to put that in first. And then it's 1 and a quarter cups of 1 and a quarter cups of flour. Now with the flour, I know this works out exactly the same as the cup, so that's why I kind of know you kind of mix up things really in the kitchen, because sometimes you haven't really, because it's got wet really with the other ingredients. So that's 1 and a quarter cup. There we go. I'll mix that up, and then for the baking powder, it's 3/4 of a teaspoon. So literally just chucking that in. And then it's half a teaspoon of baking soda. This is a teaspoon one, but I've just obviously put half of that in. And so yeah, as you can see, it's quite a good consistency, and it's quite runny. So yeah, it's not like a traditional kind of English kind of egg kind of mixture really. So that's why what I always use to kind of put them in, because it is quite a runny mixture, I kind of put them in the cupcake cases with an ice cream scoop. So it's obviously really, really easier, and you know exactly how much you're putting in, instead of like with spoons, because you're literally there forever, and I find it wastes kind of the mixture as well sometimes. So it's literally just really, really easier. So I'll come over here. So what I always use is the foil cupcake cases, because it is a runny mixture. You don't want it to kind of soak the paper ones, so it's just really, really easier. So you can get them from like Asda, and you can always get loads of different colours. These are like the Wilton ones, so you can do like the rainbow ones if it's kids' parties and all that kind of stuff. And they, it just makes it really nice, and I think the kids like it as well because it's a bit different. So what I'm going to do, so I've obviously put all the cupcake cases out, and there are some muffin ones as well, muffin liners. So with pouring them in, you literally just go for it. And it's always best to fill them up just over half, because they will rise. So it's best not to put them up too much, because you don't want to get the overspill. And what I'm going to do now is just show you how to mix up with the one recipe. It's fantastic because you can just literally mix it up as you like and make different flavours. So what I'm going to do is, do you want to put some, in this line here I was going to put some chocolate chip ones in. So get some really different recipes, and if people are coming down your house and things, it's good because they can get all different flavours. Yeah, put them on. What I'll do is I'll just chuck a few of them down, just so they don't all go to the bottom. And it's easier to do it this way, yeah, because sometimes, because the mixture's not too, it's a little bit runny, sometimes they can fall all the way to the bottom. So it's good to sprinkle them kind of at the top. Yeah, that's it. And yeah, it's really good because obviously it's the same kind of mixture. Perfect, thank you. And then what I'm going to do with the rest of this mixture is put a bit of cinnamon in, because it's really nice actually, because it tastes like kind of like Indian tea. Now you can put like a bit of allspice in and a bit of cinnamon, but because allspice can be a little bit overpowering, I kind of usually put cinnamon in because it more of that, and it kind of gives a good difference. And so yeah, that's really good. So you can literally just mix that up. And as you can see, you've literally got 3 totally different cupcakes now from the one mix, so that's really good. And obviously, one thing I forgot to say actually is before you do start baking is always preheat your oven, because that's a big tip for making sure your cakes rise. We all want our cakes to rise, and you don't want them to be a bit flat. So it's really important that we do put them into a hot oven. So I have already preheated my oven, and for these particular cupcakes, it's gas mark I think it's Fahrenheit in the UK, isn't it? It's 180 degrees, and you cook them for about 13-14 minutes. With these, they're really quick in the oven. So that's really good. So yeah, so always to remember to preheat your oven. So that's done there. So that's really, like I said, the 3 different recipes there. So you can get them straight into the oven. And as a typical Blue Peach style, I've kind of got some that, you know, like here's some I made earlier type thing, because obviously I won't be able to pipe them if they're hot. But it's really important before you decorate that they cool down. I made these about 2 hours ago, but to be honest, a lot of the time it only takes about 40 minutes for them to cool down. So yeah, these are the cupcakes, and here's some of the muffin ones that were just had the cinnamon and allspice in. Now with these, they're nice just to kind of give plain, but with the other ones, but obviously you can ice them if you like. So for the icing, obviously once they've cooled down and all of that, I've got a piping bag, and what I always use is a Wilton. It's a 2D piper, and this is like the classic one you use for a flower, or you can just do other designs as well with it. And because you can do 2 different styles, I like using this one. Like I said, it's really easy, and like I said, you can do all the different styles for it. So with the piping bag, you literally just, this one isn't pre-cut, so I've already pre-cut it at the top. So you literally, you put your nozzle through, and it's as simple as that. Now, to make sure you put the icing in so it hasn't got any like air holes and things like that, because that really does affect your piping. What I always do is use one of these. So you put it in, and you just kind of like turn it out, and you make sure it's quite a clear thing. It's good to use one of these as well, because then it gets the icing in really quicker. So I'll get that. So again, with the icing, I can obviously give you the recipe, but I've pre-done this because there's loads of recipes online. So I thought a bit more useful to kind of show you how to pipe. So you literally just put it in, and yeah, and it's just to make sure there's no air bubbles in, because like I said, when you're piping, it really does affect it.
How many minutes?
Yes, and so one thing I forgot to do is put the timer on. So I think it's been there for about a good minute. So I'm going to put it in for another 12, just so I don't forget. And we will check them before we take them out, so we know they're properly cooked. So yes, so I'll carry on filling the piping bag. And these kind of spatulas are fantastic because they're silicone, and they really get everything away from the edges as well. So as you can see, there's not a lot more I can get from that, so that's really good. So yeah, so when we're doing the rest with the piping bags, one thing I always find is when you turned it out, it doesn't kind of get dirty, and then you're not kind of got sticky fingers, if you like. So you literally just can pull it over. So it's as simple as that. And one thing that's really important, just give it a bit of a bang just to make sure there's no air bubbles, is you'll find that it's not all fully down. So what I always do is just twist the top. Now some people, and it's all how you prefer really, is they put elastic at the top so the icing doesn't come back out. And that's why it's really important that we kind of like keep it twisted. And again, from this we can do a few things. as well. So what I'll do first is, and I'll get my daughter to have a go as well, is you can do a really simple swirl, and it's always best to keep your piping bag straight, not at the side, because you won't get a good kind of good swirl. So you literally just swirl away, and it does take a bit of practice. And once you're done, and you'll learn what consistency your kind of icing should be. After a while, you kind of get, because sometimes if it's a bit cold, because of the butter, the icing can get a bit hard. But with this one, it's actually okay. And yeah, so it's just a case of getting that motion going, and it is just a case of practice. So that's one thing I kind of would advise, is practice, practice, practice. And to be honest, it doesn't take that much. But then for the a kind of like a flower, which is kind of like quite a popular one at the moment, you can do some flower swirls. What you need to do with that is start from the middle, and from the middle you just make sure you squirt a bit, then you go out and you work all the way out, and then you can just push it through like that. And as you can see there, you've got a nice flower, a nice little kind of like rose. So you can ice your, you can colour your icing whatever colour you want. If you want pink roses, or if you want red, you can absolutely do that. So yeah, you literally make sure you get a bit in the middle and you slowly work your way out. And so this is why I really like this tip, is because it's so versatile, and you can do a lot from it. Again, I'll do another swirl or a rose, and then you can really find your own kind of thing. I'll get Manleen to have a go. Do you want to do one? Make sure you keep it straight, yeah. Brilliant. And see, that's really good. So that's the first time Manleen's ever done that kind of style. So you can see how good that is. Just needs a little bit more practice, and it turns out really, really well. And some other things that you can do is that I've just got the same icing, and I've just coloured it green. And what you can do, because with the edge, is you can kind of like put a bit of a leaf on, and this is a leaf kind of nozzle, and you can get this on eBay, Amazon, or anything really. And you can kind of I'll just make sure this is twisted, and you can just literally just put a bit of a leaf on there, and it just kind of just makes it a little bit, more nicer. I think let's do that again. And you just literally just pull out, so you squirt and pull out to get that leaf shape. And so that kind of like just makes it a little bit more prettier. That one looks a bit more prettier. And yeah, it's just a case of kind of like practicing really, and making kind of like your own kind of style really. And also we've got some sprinkles somewhere. Here. So we've got some sprinkles as well. So you obviously can put those on the swirls and all that kind of stuff. And so there's some like kind of like unicorn ones on here that the kids really like at the moment. So you can see it looks really pretty. And yeah, you can just and you can put all sorts on top. I mean, you can put flowers on top and things like that. Now what I usually kind of tend to do as well is sometimes it's nice to have a bit of filling inside the cupcake. So what you can do is kind of like core it. Now you can buy proper corers online, and I actually do have one, but typical style, you can't find one when you need it. So you can core the cake itself like that, like so. And what you can do is either put jam or Nutella in. So you can see Manleen's got some Nutella. So I can just get a spoon there. I'm going to put some of that in. And so you can just literally just fill it inside, and it just makes it a little bit more different. And I used the back of just a nozzle. I saw that online as a bit of a trick, because I had bought a proper a cake corer. So yeah, I mean, I think that's really, really brilliant. So you don't need to buy one. So maybe that's why I lost mine and I couldn't actually find it. So so yeah, and you can just literally put the bit that you've cored literally back on the cake, and then you can, you know, pipe it as well, and you can do different flavour with pipings and do chocolate and all that kind of stuff as well. So I will show you that again because I think I piped a bit too much of the other one. So yeah, you literally just you just push it through, and you can just take it away, and you can yeah, take that all away, and then you can put a bit of jam in as well. So I'll get some jam. Now with this, you can get a squirty jam, which I bought once, and I put them in the cakes, but what happened is, because it was squirty jam, it was a little bit runny, so it made the cake soggy. So I do think it's really important to get your proper strawberry jam in the jars, because I find it's more thicker, and you can it's just a lot more tastier as well, because you don't want soggy kind of cupcakes. So yeah, you literally can just put them on like that, and then yeah, just pipe away. So it gives you a bit of a kind of like a different flavour. And I think sometimes the kids are like nice surprised that there's a bit of jam in there instead, or a bit of Nutella. And I'm sure there's other, you know, fillings that you could do. I mean, I've been wanting to, especially in these, because they have got the cinnamon and allspice in there, is do a bit of like an apple filling, because it'd be kind of like an apple pie really. So that would be really, really nice. So there's all these ideas that, you know, you can literally run away with, and there's loads of kind of different variations. And another thing is because a lot of Asians have got diabetes, I have actually made these with some sugar-free. It's called Exoville. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I guess you can see the packet, and it's exactly the same quantity, and they rise really well, and they make exactly the same as these kind of cakes do as well. So you can get like all the sugar-free ones as well. So I think that's really, really good as well. So you're not kind of like putting too much sugar in, so you can still have a bit of a treat. I think it's mainly the sugar that is actually quite unhealthy in these cakes. Otherwise, they're actually not that bad. So yeah, the Exoville is really, really good, and it tastes pretty much the same as well, because we've had them before, haven't we?
Yeah, it tastes really nice in the cupcakes.
Yeah. What's your favourite flavour?
Vanilla.
Vanilla, yeah. I like a bit of vanilla as well. So I mean, even with this exact same recipe, which I will put out there, I used 1 cup and a quarter of flour, and all you have to do is replace the quarter cup with cocoa powder. But the thing is with that, you just need to make sure you sieve the cocoa powder, because it can get quite clunky when you buy it and all kind of like packed up, and they go down really well as well. So yeah, I mean, with the same recipe, yeah, the cocoa powder, I think I've got some somewhere, but it's fine. You just need to make sure you sift that. But I never really sift my flour, because I don't see the kind of like I need to kind of do that, because it still mixes really, really well. But with the cocoa powder, I find it keeps lumps inside, so I always make sure I sift that. And another thing I always do as well is with in the same, instead of the apple cider vinegar, which helps it rise, I always put lemon juice in, and the zest of a lemon, and that obviously gives you that lovely lemon flavour as well, and again, it gives it a total different flavour. So yeah, on the same recipe you can get literally, you know, 5 or 6 different flavours, and I would say play with it and see what you actually like, because I always when just now I was younger, I bought this book here, and it's literally vegan cupcakes, and I really recommend it because it is really, really good, and I've always got icing on it. It's really, really good, and it's got loads of different recipes, and one, instead of the Exoville, it's actually got agave nectar. Now when I started baking, it was really hard to get agave nectar and Exoville in the shops, and what's really good is that you can actually get it from the shops, and it's all sugar free, so that's really, really good as well. And so with some of the recipes of course, and it's got loads of other different things, and you've even got like a skinny kind of cupcake as well in here, which is really good. And you can get, again, the allspice stuff as well, and lychee ones and Mexican ones, and the coconut one is absolutely amazing. So you make it with like desiccated coconut and things like that. So it is really, really good, and I definitely recommend this particular one because it's simple, and especially with the measurements as well. I find baking with these cups so much easier. I mean, you saw within 5 minutes I had the whole batch ready, so that was really good. So what I'll do now is I'll show you how to check if the cakes are done. So you should be able to touch and they just spring back up. But the best way, just in case, is to just literally just put your knife in and it should come out clean. And but sometimes obviously with a chocolate chip, the chocolates will come in. But because this is a bigger one, I always like to check those. But yeah, it's all absolutely clean, so you know then they're cooked. But yeah, it's just that spring that you want. And as you can see, they've risen really well, and we've got all those different 3 flavours there as well. So and again, they'll take about like 40 odd minutes to cool. But after about 5 minutes, you can put them into a cooling rack if you want them to get a lot more cooler. Where did you put the chocolate chip? And with the chocolate chip, I did actually buy them, but you can actually literally just cut up chocolate and just put that in as well. And I mean, even if you had some extra Easter eggs left over as well, you could obviously put those in as well. And it just makes it a lot more easier just to play around with what you've got in your house. That's what I really like to do as well. And with the cupcake cases, this one's actually a muffin one, and these are actually proper cupcake sizes. And if I just compare the sizes, there is a bit of a difference, but it's not that much to be fair. But I think with a lot of the times with the adults, they prefer the bigger ones, especially if you're not going to put any icing on them as well. So it just makes it really, really easier. So yeah, I mean, it's as you can see, it's so easy. I mean, within less than 30 minutes, I've managed to make the cupcakes and ice them, and do those different flavours as well. And it kind of gives everybody variety, because I know in the households, like one person will like one flavour, another. So you can just literally just play around with it as much as you like. And sorry, and you can just carry on doing it. I mean, what happened with these is that I used the wrong measuring cup, so they came out a bit dark because I had put a bit too much extra sugar in. So you can tell them from experience, thinking, oh, literally just by picking up the wrong cup. But with these, they're a lot lighter because of that reason, because of the sugar. So that's why they're a little bit different in the colour on the top. But they both were putting for about 14 minutes. But yeah, the actual sugar will caramelise and make it more crispier at the top. But they're still fine. And with the cupcakes, I'll show you this one. As you can see, I was saying with the foil ones, they'll literally come away really good, and you won't get the problem where they're half stuck. So what I find is when you use the paper ones, they get very stuck, and you can't pull them away. But as you can see, that's pretty much like a clean break really. And you can, thank you. It's very good to have daughters, because they're very good at intuitively knowing what you need. So that's really good, thank you. So yeah, it comes away really, really easily as well. They're slightly more expensive, but not that much more really. And you can actually still get them in the shops as well, especially because the whole vegan thing has gone off. Because now you can get 3 or 4 different types of vegan cakes, even birthday cakes. But when my son was younger, I couldn't, and he couldn't really have the other cakes. So it means he could actually have some cakes. So that's really good. But with the icing, a lot of the time I do use butter, just because it's easy and you can get it. But they are like vegan shortening, if you like that kind of stuff, that you can buy. And the icing, I think tasting wise, it's absolutely fine. And you don't really get taste difference, do you really?
No, it tastes the same.
Yeah. And so yeah, so we've got jam filled, Nutella filled, we've got cinnamon, we've got chocolate chip, and you're plain, classic vanilla. So yeah, I mean, try to keep it short because there's obviously a lot of information there. And you know, with the baking, it's just a case of doing it and just getting that practice in, and then you won't even think, because a lot of the time, especially with the baking soda, baking powder, I don't measure anymore. I'll just chuck it all in, and because you've got that experience and you just know what you're doing after a while, so I don't do that. So I mean, yeah, that's all of the kind of like cupcakes done with the different tips and all that kind of stuff as well. So you can you know, play away and do what you like with them, because I know with all our like friends through Muscat, we know Amritpal, she does amazing like flowers. She's got like a flower nozzle, and it's absolutely beautiful, and that makes it really nice. And Tajinder does really good the biscuits, and it tastes absolutely amazing. So maybe we could go for those recipes with them, you know, another time. So yeah, through the Muscat team, there's so many other bakers, and also Tajinder as well. She'll make some really cakes within a was it the ice cream cone, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Amritpal does as well. So that's a really good shout out to them, like, because they're amazing bakers, and so I'm sure they could share all their other hints and tips as well. So I think that's kind of brings this to an end. But do tune in tomorrow, because Amritpal and Indrajit will be doing some tips on education, which is quite a hot topic at the moment, especially all the kids you know, not in school. So definitely tune in tomorrow, and we will let you know when the next set of live Muscats are going to go on. So yeah, so tune in. And is there any questions?
Yeah, can you use normal cow's milk as opposed to...
I have actually tried, and it didn't work out with the cow's milk. They just overflowed, and they just didn't. It wasn't quite right. So I think it's the soya that kind of keeps this particular recipe. See, I thought that once as well. So yeah, no, we can't use it for this particular recipe, but there are others that I think they do replace with milk, with eggs. Is there any other ones?
How long do they need to be in the oven again, just to confirm?
Yeah, no, that's fine. This one is 13-14 minutes, and I do find different ovens are different, because I know when I go to a mom's house, they need a little bit longer. So yeah, 13 to 14 minutes, but I think the book actually says a little bit longer, but I find that they make them too dry, so I take them out at that time, just making sure they are actually done. So yeah, 14 minutes, and that is literally it.
What's your personal favourite recipe?
Mine, I like carrot cake and the coconut cake as well, which maybe I'll show you one day. But you can, it's like a bounty cake. It's absolutely delicious, which from another recipe book I found as well. And but with that particular recipe, you can actually substitute for milk with some other stuff. So yeah, I have really played around with things, and some things you can substitute, and some things don't work. Any other?
Can we have the recipe for the icing as well, please?
Absolutely. I mean, there's tons and tons online with whipping it up, but I absolutely will do that. I'll make sure it goes on the Muscat page, or hopefully, and put all the recipe in there as well, and with the alternatives, which is obviously really, really easy as well.
How long have you been baking for yourself?
Barry now got me baking, so it's been about
3 years.
I think about properly, I mean, this kind of baking, well, my son was about 1, so yeah, he's 8 now, so it's for about over 7 years now that I'll be making these, the new ones.
And can we have a link to the book as well?
Yes, it is on Amazon, but I will, yeah, that's a good idea as well. Let's put the link on for the book as well. So yeah, no, that's absolutely fine. But there's a few different versions of like making, was it short crust pastries and pies and all sorts. So that's really, really good. But I find with the other stuff, it's harder to get the ingredients. But with this one, it's a lot easier, especially now. Because before I used to have to go to specialist shops to get like the sugar or just soya milk never used to be around as much as what it is now. So that's really good as well. Yes, that's it, perfect. Oh, thank you for all your questions. It shows that, you know, it's been really nice, and everybody's really engaged. So yes, definitely tune in for Amritpal tomorrow and Indrajit, because I will be, because with these two, teaching them at home, not a teacher. So and Amritpal's been a teacher for I think like 14-15 years. So that'll be amazing. And so yeah, tune in tomorrow, and any other questions, keep on coming them through, bring them through Muscat, and yeah, we definitely will put all the posts up with the rest of the Muscat crew. And if you haven't watched the Motherhood teaser, which is brought us all together as Muscat, please do watch it. It's on YouTube at Nahal Productions. And you can watch some other stuff there as well. So make sure you do that and like, share, subscribe. What else? Comment. There you go. Comment as well. So that'd be really, really good. And yeah, I mean, yeah, that's it. Any other questions? Put them through. And thank you for watching. And hopefully we can do more of these. Oh, and yes, definitely watch the teaser, more of the teaser, because it's absolutely amazing and the quality is fantastic as well.
Why would you
Why would you keep